الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين. اللهم إنا نحمدك يا ربنا حمدا كثيرا طيبا طاهرا دائما مباركا فيه، ملء السماوات وملء الأرض وملء ما بينهما وملء ما شئت يا ربنا من شيء بعد. أهل الثناء والمجد أحق ما قال العبد وكلنا لك عبد. اللهم لا مانع لما أعطيت ولا معطي لما منعت ولا ينفع ذا الجد منك الجد. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبد الله ورسوله وصفيه من خلقه وحبيبه، بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة وكشف الغمة وجاهد في الله حق الجهاد حتى أتاه اليقين. اللهم صل وسلم وزد وبارك على الحبيب المصطفى محمد وآله وعلى أصحابه وأتباعه ومن اهتدى بهديه وعمل بسنته إلى يوم الدين، وارض عنا معهم بفضلك وكرمك أرحم الراحمين. اللهم آمين. I praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the creator of heavens and earth, the provider, the cherisher, the sustainer. I thank Allah for all the blessings that He has bestowed upon me and my family and loved ones. And I express my gratitude to the Lord in words and action, and I say, Alhamdulillah. For the blessings I know and the blessings I know not, I bear witness that there is no deity worthy of worship save Allah. And I bear witness that Muhammad is Allah's final prophet and messenger, the bearer of glad tidings, the role model to be followed, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. May the peace and the blessings of Allah be upon him, his family, companions, and followers, and all the righteous men and women that walk steadily in their footsteps. And I ask Allah to make each and every one of us among them. Allahumma ameen. My dear brothers and sisters, I greet you with the greeting of Islam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Our community braces itself for Ramadan. And a lot of people the last few weeks have been trying to get themselves into the mood of Ramadan. People are praying more regularly. People are fasting Mondays and Thursdays just to get their physical bodies accustomed to the experience of fast in Ramadan. A lot of people are reading the Quran more frequently. And that is a blessing, alhamdulillah. At the masjid, people are also planning. The imams are prepping their Quran and reviewing their Quran. The imams are reviewing their khatiras. They are organizing the iftars and the tahajjud nights and the qiyam nights and all the beautiful activities that come with Ramadan. And we are in such a festive mood right now as a community. And we are looking forward to this beautiful month, inshallah ta'ala, to come upon us. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it a month of forgiveness, to make it a month of compassion, a month of blessings, a month of answering all of our du'as. Allahumma ameen. I did realize something though, that ultimately we as a Muslim community, the observant crowd that comes to the masjid on a regular basis, we do live in a bit of a bubble. We live in our own bubble. And we think that everyone else is like us, right? I was giving the khutbah last Friday at MCA in the Bay Area. And, you know, there's like 3,000 people that attend khutbah over there. It's a huge number. But in my first row, I saw a brother in his 40s that clearly was deaf and mute. He had hearing devices on both sides and was really struggling to hear what I was saying the whole time. Naturally, I was making more eye contact with him because maybe I felt bad that I'm giving the khutbah and he's not able to understand everything I'm saying. After the khutbah, the brother came with somebody else, a volunteer that was helping him with sign language. So he's coming to me with sign language, trying to thank me for the khutbah. And his translator told me what the brother is saying is that he enjoyed whatever he was able to understand from the khutbah, and he benefited. So I said he couldn't hear the khutbah. He said, you know, he heard bits and pieces of the khutbah here and there because, you know, the American masajid are not equipped for people who have hearing disabilities. You know, it has to be different than the speakers that you guys are, you know, hearing from right now. The process is a little bit different. And we are not we're not equipped as masajid in terms of our infrastructure to work with people like that. And I thought to myself, if this brother is struggling listening to the khutbah, then he probably struggles listening to the Quran. Imagine coming to the masjid and you're not able to enjoy the qira'ah, the recitation of the imam, for example. Imagine if you cannot just go on YouTube and listen to a lecture that will inspire you, or listen to a khatira that will touch your heart. I mean, this entire realm is removed from your life. And then I thought to myself, this brother is not going to enjoy Ramadan the way that you and I will. Inshallah, hopefully. This brother is not going to enjoy Ramadan. The deaf and mute in our community, they are not going to enjoy Ramadan the way we do enjoy it. And I realize that people with other forms of disabilities, people who are blind, for example, they cannot read from the Islamic books, and they cannot go on Facebook and follow the posts of the good imams that are posting inspiring things about Ramadan that you and I read. They're not going to be able to get that. And it dawned on me, brothers and sisters, that there is an entire segment of our community that is completely neglected. We don't even think about them. People who have physical disability. People who are quadriplegic. There's a brother who's on wheelchair. He lives in the Arden Arcade area. He has to take 3 forms of public transportation to come here for Jummah. And naturally, he's not able to do that on a regular basis, but whenever he has the financial means and the time and the resilience to do it, right, he would come, subhanAllah. You just get in your car and you go to the masjid, you don't even think about it. But some people actually have to think about it, and think about it a lot. Because it is not easy for them to come to the masjid. And if they did come to the masjid, it is not easy for them to understand what is being said. And if they can understand, it is not easy for them to hear it, because maybe they have a hearing impairment. What about brothers and sisters who may lead a sinful lifestyle? They're not very religious. And they commit sins of some sort, somebody who owns a liquor store, or someone who has a haram relationship, or someone who's engaged in something that is against Islam. How do we look at those people? We probably look at them with a lot of judgment. And we ostracize them, and we say, oh, look at them just indulging in life, and they're not coming to the masjid. As opposed to finding ways to help them come to the masjid. We don't think about that. Like I said, we live in our own little bubble as the observant Muslims. We come to the masjid, we take everything for granted, and we don't even give a thought to our brothers and sisters that may not have the same privilege that we have when we come to the masjid and as we approach the month of Ramadan. But the reason I bring this up today, because there is that one category of brothers and sisters in our own community that is huge, that will not experience Ramadan the way we experience it. They will not benefit from it the way, inshallah, you and I will. And they will not grow spiritually from the Ramadan either. And that is people who struggle with mental health issues in our own community. Another group that is completely and entirely neglected. Not only neglected, probably looked down upon. Because people who have mental health issues, what I heard time and time again, if you have more iman, you will not feel like that. Depression is from shaitan. If you stop what you're doing, you will become a better person and you will have no anxiety or depression anymore. You've heard those statements before. Those extremely hurtful statements. Assuming that physical illness somehow has legitimate causes, but mental illness does not have any legitimate causes. You just need to be a better Muslim, right? So demeaning and so humiliating of people that suffer so severely, right? Our brothers and sisters who have anxiety, who have depression, who have obsessive compulsive disorders, who have bipolar syndrome, who have ADD and ADHD, and all these forms of mental, instability. And they are struggling with that. And instead of us giving them a helping hand, we become the instrument of turning them away. I was on a conference call yesterday. And there was one particular sister, I expected her to be on the call. Had not seen her in 6 or 7 months. And so I asked, sister so-and-so, is she going to join our conference call? And they said, one of the sisters said, just between you and I, she has been having a lot of depression, and she only goes to work barely, maintaining her main functions. She goes to work and she goes home. That's it. She doesn't want to do anything. Now, mind you, brothers and sisters, this was a woman that was heavily involved at the masjid. She's a religious sister, heavily involved in volunteers, right? She stopped coming for 6 months and nobody cared to check on her. So when that sister said, well, she's so depressed that she plans not to come to the masjid in Ramadan. You know that feeling? Because you're so depressed, you're trying to avoid human contact, even though you know that human contact is the best thing for you, but you're so down and you're so depressed, you want to avoid people altogether. She was in that state. So one of the brothers on the call, he went like, oh man, that's so messed up. I was like, yes, it is messed up that one of our sisters has been suffering for 6 months and we didn't do anything about it. That's what's messed up. She's not messed up because she's ill. We are messed up because we didn't check on her. And I ask myself, I wonder sometimes, all of you guys come to Jum'ah here on a regular basis. Do you ever miss someone? Do you ever ask yourself, well, brother so-and-so hasn't been coming in a while and I need to call them up? Or do you just take the easy way out and say, well, he hasn't even been coming to Jum'ah. What is wrong with him? And then you meet them somewhere at a social event and you smile in their face as if nothing went wrong. Do we ask ourselves, what responsibility do we have towards those who cannot come to the masjid and cannot enjoy the experience as much as we do? Brothers and sisters with mental health issues, as we approach Ramadan, imagine that you are so consumed with your own problems that you don't have any room for spirituality and learning and growth. You are just in survival mode 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's all. Just trying to avert suicide. Now we hear about suicide in the Muslim community. 2 months ago, a young kid, high schooler from Natomas, we know that his parents committed suicide, took his own life. Right? Southern California. Sheikh Muhammad Faqih was telling me, he says, we're so effective as a community to keep things under wraps. He was telling me in Southern California, this 12-year-old girl took his own life and hung herself at the masjid to make a statement to the community that neglected her. At the masjid, she took her own life. To send the message to everyone, what did you do about it? Now, suicide is the most notorious thing because it's the story that we hear about. But my question to you, how many other brothers and sisters that are struggling on the verge of suicide? And our community is not doing anything about it. Not only that, mental health issues are becoming a taboo. We don't want to talk about it. And we put people down when they talk about it. And we give them our uninsightful responses. You need to read more Quran. You need to pray more at the masjid. You need to do this. And that's it. Whereas, as Ramadan approaches, I want you, brothers and sisters, to remember that we have a responsibility towards our wider community. And not just those that we see on a regular basis at the masjid. If I asked you right now about your own families, you will probably tell me every single family will have someone who has a mental health issues. Right? And you will probably tell me that most of your family members are not religious. And most of your family members don't come to the masjid. My question to you is, what are you doing about it? What are you doing about it? To help them come to Jum'ah and to help them come to Taraweeh and to help them join the iftar and somehow get them out of that mood. Did you give advice to someone in your family that has depression that they need to go see a therapist? Did you tell them, inshallah, everything is going to be okay, but you need to seek help? Go talk to a psychiatrist or your family doctor and let them know what you're going through because you don't have to suffer in silence? Are we doing that or not? Or, again, we continue to exist in our little bubble. Ramadan is coming, and we're thinking about what we're doing in Ramadan, and the iftars and the activities and everything, and we are neglecting our own brothers and sisters who need our help the most. Because that is the state of affairs. And I wanted to say this. There's one particular age group in our community that is extremely prone to depression and mental health issues, and that is the teenagers. It's very easy for us to judge teenagers and to say, oh, they're not religious, they're not coming to the masjid, all they want is fun and entertainment, they're glued to their phones, and that's about it. Whereas, it is very, very possible that your teenagers are not coming to the masjid because they have other bigger issues to deal with, because they are depressed. And they are telling you what you want to hear, and they are smiling in your face as a parent or as a sibling, and you don't know what they're going through, right? Because unfortunately, it is a reality now that the American teenager lives in an age where there are no challenges. They're not challenged. Their parents have enough money. They have everything they need. They have all the material needs in the world. Unlike teenagers in other countries who have to work and earn their own living, here teenagers have everything, right? So what is there to live for? When you and I wake up in the morning, it's the challenge that keeps us going, because it gives a sense of purpose to our existence. There's something that I need to achieve. But teenagers today, everything is within reach. All they need to do is ask, Mom, can I have this? Dad, can I have that? And that's it. And as parents, we think it's good parenting to just give them what they want. And wallahi, brothers and sisters, I'm telling you, you have to put teenagers through challenges. Take them to the old country and show them how other people live. And they spend 4 or 5 months over there. Get them to get a job in the summer. And don't feel arrogant about it. Don't let your ego get in the way. Well, alhamdulillah, I'm wealthy. I don't need to let my kids work. It's not about money. It's about them garnering the experience of life so that they can become healthy human beings. Instead of making these statements about them, ask yourself, am I giving my teenagers everything they want? We have to say no to the kids sometimes, right? Just so that there is some challenge in life. Otherwise, if they get everything they ask for, they will become bored and depressed, and that is basically the path to mental health issues among young people, right? American teenagers live in an age where there is no mentorship whatsoever. Remember, many of us, when we were growing up, I can name probably 25 different people that had such an impact on my life, that have mentored me, that have taken care of me, that have given me advice over the years. There's no such thing as mentorship. In fact, teenagers are mentors to each other. You know, I used to pick up the phone and call my sheikh or call my teacher. But kids this day and age, they will text their peers, right? They don't seek mentorship from someone that is older. And by the way, the sin falls on us. As adults, you ask yourself, am I mentoring young kids or not? Am I involved, or is it just my kids? See? American society has this complex system of mentorship. They get it at the Boy Scouts program, they get it at the church, they get it here and there. But our Muslim community doesn't have that. Because we live in our little bubble. And we are so content with the bubble. But you ask yourself, okay, I am stable, alhamdulillah, I am knowledgeable, and I have a little time to give every week. What am I using that time for? Maybe go at the masjid and work with 5 or 6 high schoolers and help them, decide on their career. Maybe offer counseling sessions. If you're a doctor, say to yourself, well, there's probably a few teenagers at the masjid that and I'm not talking about teaching them Islam either. I am just talking about being friends with them, taking them out to lunch, talking to them about how to decide on their careers, how to choose a spouse. Are we doing that or not? But at the end of the day, we want the masjid to do it. The masjid needs to do it. The imam needs to do it. The volunteers at the masjid, as anybody, as long as it's not me. Somebody else has to offer the services and has to take care of it, as long as I don't have to do anything in the world. I don't have to donate. I don't have to volunteer. I don't have to attend events. I just need to check off Jum'ah off my list and go home so that I can feel good about myself. That's it. Full impunity our community lives in. Full impunity. Free ride across the board. That's all we want. And we are so ready to blame others for our own failures as a community, right? So somebody needs to bring this up, and that person happens to be me right now. It has to be brought up because we need to look at the mirror and see the root of the problem. The root of the problem is in our inaction as community members, is in our understanding of what it means to be religious in this day and age, right? American Muslim teenagers, brothers and sisters, live in an age where they are constantly exposed to social media. And what does social media do? Social media is a fake perspective, is a facade of something that is not real, okay? Because we pick the beautiful moments of the day and we take a picture and we put that picture on social media. right? A man who's having a fight with his wife is not going to take a selfie and say, oh, this is me yelling at my wife right now. Nobody does that. But they will pick a happy moment when they're looking at the Pacific Ocean or whatever, and they say, oh, so everybody else thinks that this is how they are 100% of the time. And those teenagers look at other people's posts and they're like, oh man, look at them, they're so happy, and I'm so miserable. Contributes further to their depression, right? This brother that I was telling you about in Natumas that took his own life, and that's why, wallahi, parents, if you have teenage kids, you really have to be very, very vigilant and very, very careful. Constantly talk to the kids, constantly, because suicide happens in a second. Someone is pushed to the edge of their wits, and they're going to do it. And in that moment, sanity is gone. Rationality is gone. Faith is gone. All they see is darkness. And you want to interfere before that moment comes, right? This kid was being bullied for years, cyber bullied by friends at his school. And none of the parents heard about it. They didn't know anything about it. And then they basically put so much pressure on this kid, and they said, unless you kill yourself on camera, this is a true story, happened in our own community, and you guys are looking at me so astonished as if you haven't heard about it, which is a problem in and of itself, right? They bullied him, and they said, unless you kill yourself on camera, we will release these texts and those pictures all over social media. So the kid just took the dare and killed himself. This happened, right under our very eyes in our own community. So social media and smartphones, this age is bringing a tremendous amount of pain to teenage Muslims in this country. And we have to be very compassionate, we have to be very insightful, and we have to be very careful on how we approach those kids. Being mentally stable, in my opinion, is a lot more important than being religious. Because there are some religious people that are completely unstable, right? But if you are a stable human being, right, you can very easily become religious. And you will become a benefit to the entire community, right? I want you to pay attention to the music that those kids are listening to, okay? Music that basically incites violence and objectification and sexuality and hatred and hating yourself and making money through illegal means, all of it, right? Music that speaks to arrogance and all types of vices that are extremely resented by all faiths, right? But we are letting the kids listen to that music. Oh, teenagers will be teenagers, just let it be. How are they listening to that music? And what type of resistance are we putting as a community? What type of alternatives are we providing as a community? Absolutely nothing. So again, as Ramadan approaches, brothers and sisters, just get out of the bubble a little bit and take a look at your extended family. Take a look at the non-religious people in your circle. Take a look at people with physical disability and perhaps make arrangements to pick them up once or twice a week and bring them to Taraweeh with you. Think with your spouse, with your family members about someone that has a mental health disorder in your own family or in your own circle, and keep them in your thoughts and in your prayers and in your actions so that those people are included. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept our good deeds and to forgive us our sins and to establish us with firmness on His path. Brothers and sisters, raise your hands and speak to Allah from the heart. ادعوا الله وأنتم موقنون بالإجابة. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعين به ونستهديه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا وأصلي وأسلم على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين وقائد الغر الميامين محمد الصادق الوعد الأمين اللهم صل وسلم وبارك عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه والتابعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين وارض عنا معهم بفضلك وكرمك أرحم الراحمين اللهم آمين. Brothers and sisters, as Ramadan nears, wanted to share this quick advice with all of us, and that is Ramadan is not complete unless we include everyone else and not just our little circle of religious Muslims and observant Muslims that come to the masjid. We want to include people who are not capable of coming to the experience of Ramadan and benefiting from it. We want to include people who are deaf and mute. We want to include people who are physically disabled. We want to include people who may be committing sins, but we want to invite them and be open-minded and open-hearted about it. And particularly in this month of May, which is the month of mental, they call it the mental health month. May is the mental health month. And I felt that it is also necessary as Ramadan approaches that we talk about people with mental health struggles. Scan your family members and scan your circle of friends. If someone is not coming on a regular basis, not showing up, they're acting strange, maybe there's something, they need an intervention. There's a lot of people in our community that suffer from physical abuse, from sexual abuse, all types of things, and it goes over the years, unnoticed. It goes unnoticed because we refrain from getting a little bit deeper in our relationships. And again, I talked about American Muslim teenagers earlier, and I said that particular age group is prone to depression, right? Prone to depression because of a variety of factors. Just a couple of days ago, a couple of weeks ago, I watched this documentary about this kid who a teenager, went to his parents. See, we live in really interesting times. Went to his parents and told them that he feels like he wants to be a girl. Like he's a girl trapped in a boy's body. So of course, because we live in a society that does not give advice anymore, a society that promotes self-destruction, right? Good old parents, they want to be, good liberal parents as they are. They agreed. And they took the kid, put the kid under the surgeon's knife, and turned him into a girl. 4 years later, the girl comes back to her parents and says, "Mom, Dad, I'm sorry, I made a mistake and I become a boy again." So they take the girl back, put the girl under the surgeon's knife, and make the girl into a boy again. That's the society in which we live. Anybody can do anything under the guise of freedom and liberalism, and nobody is supposed to give them any advice or to stand up and to say, "Man, you're hurting yourself." Our friends, they get drunk and our friends do drugs, and we're not supposed to judge them because we're supposed to be supportive friends, right? They get engaged in destructive relationships and we don't say anything about it. That has to become the name of the game. It's only good old immigrant Muslim parents that are giving advice, but anybody else and everybody else is not saying anything about it. And society promotes this self-destructive attitude. Be whoever you want to be, even if it's the stupidest idea in the world. You wake up in the morning and you just want to be XYZ, fine, yeah. We're all supposed to support you. And no one is supposed to give you any advice of any sort whatsoever. We cannot allow that to happen. There has to be a gentle and loving and compassionate way to render advice. And to take your friend to the side and say, "Man, what you're doing to yourself is not right. You know better than that. You're a good human being. You can't do this." And if they insist, I don't cut them off. Nope. Occasionally, I will still call them and check on them and show them love and compassion until one day they wake up and realize that they are wrong. But to let people do whatever they want, again, that contributes to the depression that people are going through, right? And I wanted to conclude the khutbah by just making a quick comment here about mental health issues and how we treat it as a Muslim community. If your response to someone that has depression, that they need to read more Quran and they need to come to Jum'ah and they need to pray, then you are basically making matters worse on them. It is true that religious people are less susceptible to mental health issues. This is across the board, across all faiths. This is true, right? Being closer to God gives you a sense of support that someone who doesn't have it, will not experience. However, some very religious people still have mental health issues. And so we have to be insightful in the way we approach it, okay? There is this body of knowledge in Islam that we call at-tibb al-nabawi, right? Prophetic medicine. What is prophetic medicine? It's a holistic type of medicine where the Prophet ﷺ prescribed remedies for physical ailments. He prescribed remedies for mental ailments, like there'd be a chapter about anxiety, al-ham, for example, right? And then there would be prescriptions and remedies for spiritual ailments. Someone who has evil thoughts, someone who is not able to pray regularly, and all these things. If mental health issues can be addressed by reading the Quran, why would the Prophet ﷺ speak about, at-talbina, for example, which is this type of cereal that is mixed with yogurt and honey, that the Prophet ﷺ said, eat it when you feel depressed, because it'll put you in a good mood. He could have just said, make dhikr. right? The Prophet ﷺ 1,400 years ago made a distinction between mental health issues, physical ailments, and spiritual ailments. And today, we are somehow mixing them up as a community. Doesn't make any sense to me. Even Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He spoke to the Prophet in the Quran, the Prophet ﷺ at some point, a low point of his life, he was depressed from the things that they were saying about him. قَدْ نَعْلَمُ إِنَّهُ لَيَحْزُنُكَ الَّذِي يَقُولُونَ. Allah says to him, I know that it makes you sad and depressed, the things that they've been saying about you. Allah Azza wa Jal embraced the Prophet ﷺ with these words and acknowledged the mental pain that he was going through. And I wish that we approach our brothers and sisters with a mental health issue with the same love and the same compassion and the same embracing. And you hold them tight before Ramadan and you tell them, inshallah, everything's going to be okay. You just need to seek some help. Go sign up at this program. Go talk to your therapist. Inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not let you in this state forever. Relief is coming, right? These supporting, embracing, compassionate and loving statements to our brothers and sisters who may be suffering. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on this day to make us among those who will reach Ramadan and experience it and be blessed with it. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make this upcoming Ramadan one of the most beautiful Ramadans we've ever had. I ask Allah to make it a month of compassion and a month of blessings, a month of forgiveness, a month of spiritual growth. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on this day to answer our du'as and to accept our good deeds. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to embrace us with His love and grace and to make us instruments of healing in the lives of others and to make us contributors to their happiness and their relief. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as He brought us here together in this shape and form, to gather all of us in His Jannah on the Day of Judgment. Allahumma ameen. Allahumma laka alhamdu kama yanbaghi li jalali wajhika wa azimi sultanik. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا يا ربنا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من الهم والحزن ونعوذ بك من العجز والكسل ونعوذ بك من الجبن والبخل ونعوذ بك من غلبة الدين وقهر الرجال. لا حول ولا قوة لنا إلا بك يا رب العالمين. اللهم يا خفي الألطاف نجنا مما نخاف. يا حي يا قيوم برحمتك نستغيث. أصلح لنا شأننا كله ولا تكلنا لأنفسنا طرفة عين ولا أقل من ذلك. اللهم انصر إخواننا المستضعفين في المشارق والمغارب يا رب العالمين. اللهم أبدلهم من بعد خوفهم أمنا يعبدونك لا يشركون بك شيئا. اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات المسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات إنك سميع قريب مجيب الدعوات يا رب العالمين. وأقم الصلاة إن الصلاة كانت على المؤمنين كتابا موقوتا.